What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. Today on this video we'll be determining the determinants of the third order matrix. So before we start though, if you have any idea on how to calculate the determinant, you can pause this video, try to find the determinant for these two questions that you see here, and let's see if your answers are going to be the same as the answers that we're going to get at the end of this video. Now, before we start solving these problems, I'd just like to inform you guys that you can support this channel via the super thanks button. But if you can't do that, you can always like, share, comment, and also subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed to the channel. Guys, I've made lots and lots of videos. You can go to the playlist and select the topic that you like to learn. All right, guys, so let's go back to the video. Now, let's look at these questions here. We have two questions. Both of them, they want us to calculate the determinant. Now, we're going to calculate the determinant of third order using what we call the cofactor expansion. That is the method that we're going to use on this video to calculate the determinant for both of these square matrices. In order for us to be able to use that though, we can use two methods. On the first one here, on question one, I'm going to use the cofactor signs to calculate the determinant. And on the second one, I'm going to use the formula. So let's do the cofactor signs. So the cofactor signs, we all know that they alternate. So it's going to be positive, or for the first entry, negative, positive, negative, positive, negative, positive, negative, positive. Then this is the cofactor signs. Right, so the next step here is to select a row or a column to use those entries as your references. So I'm gonna select a row for this one, and then I'm gonna select a column for the second one. So let's select this row here. It's better to select the first row, it makes life easier. Now that we have selected this row here, so we're gonna start by cancelling the column where 3 is and also cancel the row where 3 is. This is necessary when you use the cofactor expansion method. We can say minor of 3. Right, remember this 3 here on our entry. So when we continue here, we're gonna write the entry which is 3 there. All right, let us not forget that 3 and the cofactor sign here, they are both positive. That's why our 3 here is positive. Now let's see what is it that we're left with. Remember, we cancel the first row and the first column. We're gonna be left with 1, 2, 2, and 6, as you can see from this square matrix there. From there, now we go to the next one. All right, so when you move to the next one, we can write minor of 2 because this is 2 now. Now, when you look at the signs here, the cofactor sign for this entry where 2 is supposed to be negative. So we put negative here based on the cofactor sign, but yet we want to have to put that 2 there. And then when we cancel the row and the column where 2 is, you can see that we're going to be left with 5, 3, 2, and 6 there. Now we're left with the square matrix that you see here. Right, we leave it like this for now. Let's do the last entry. Let's do the minor of 4. The minor of negative 4. Now let's look at the cofactor signs here. For the last one, is going to be positive there. But when you look at our entry, it's going to be negative 4. Let us not forget that the row and the column where negative 4 is are being cancelled. So we're going to be left with 5, 1, 3, and 2. There we go. So we continue from here. Really, you don't do much. You just calculate the determinant with these entries here. So let us not forget we have 3 here. When you calculate the determinant, do not forget that you multiply the first entry on the square matrix with the last entry, which is 1 multiplied by 6 minus the multiplication of 2 and 2 here. 2 and 2. There we go. So we are done with this. Now let's continue. Now here we have negative 2. Let us not forget. Now it's time for us to calculate the determinant for this one. The first entry and the last entry, which is 5 multiplied by 6 minus the multiplication of the second entry and the third entry, which is going to be 2 multiplied by 3. There we go. Then since we have plus and minus, this is going to be minus 4. And then we calculate the determinant. So let's do it. So we're going to multiply this 5 and 2 minus by the multiplication of 1 and 3. There we go. All right, guys. So just in case you don't know, the part inside the bracket, it's actually a way of calculating the determinant. So if you don't know how to calculate the determinant, I will leave video on the description. go and click that link of that video where I explain how to calculate the determinant. The very same video will pop up on the top right of the one that you're watching at the current moment. So click on that video and watch it in order for you to understand how to calculate the determinant. So let's continue here. Now, when you use a calculator on this one, the answer here is going to give you 6. Right, now let's go to the second one here. When you continue here, you put this on a calculator, this is going to give us negative 48. There we go. Now let's do the last one here and let's see what we get there. So when you put all this on a calculator, what you're going to get here is going to be negative 28. There we go. Put this on a calculator, your final answer is going to be negative 70. So the determinant for the first square matrix is negative 70. Just in case you don't know much about minor and the cofactor, I made a video where I explained the cofactors and the minor. I'll leave that video on the description, and also the very same video is going to pop up on the top right of the one that you're watching here. Go and watch that video. It will help you to understand this step, just in case you haven't watched or you don't know much about cofactors and the minor. Now that we are done with this one, let's do the second one. Now, the second question here, they also want us to find the determinant. So on number 2, we're not going to use the cofactor signs. We're going to use the cofactor formula to calculate the determinant of this square matrix here. So the cofactor formula is very simple, guys. It's as follows. Negative 1 to the power of I plus j, these are exponent by the way, multiplied by the minor. So I'm going to use this formula here for us to calculate the determinant. When you continue, let us not forget that we need to select a row or a column in order for us to calculate the determinant. So on the last question, we selected a row. So on this one, how about we select a column? Guys, it doesn't matter. You just have to select any of this row or column. So to make our life easier, I prefer to select the first column or row. Right, guys, so let's continue here. When we continue here, we can say minor of 0. So when you say minor of 0, it means that we're going to cancel a row and the column where 0 is. The row where 0 is this one. The column is as follows. What are we going to do here now? We're going to use the formula. Just in case you don't know what I is and J is, I is for row and J is for column. So let's use this formula in order for us to calculate the determinant. Now, this 0, which is a part of entry, is going to be part of our calculations, right? It's going to be part of it, multiplied by the cofactor. So the cofactor here, we know that we're going to have negative 1. Our I, which is our row, is the first row. So we can write 1 here. And then our column is going to be our J, which is going to be the first one. So it's going to be 1 plus 1. Multiply by our minor. So our minor is the entry that is left there, which is going to be negative 4, 6, 3, 3. There we go. So we are done with this one for now. It's time for us to do the second one. Now we can say minor of 8. Remember, we are moving with the column that we highlighted here. Now, if we are dealing with a minor of 8, we need to cancel the row where 8 is, because 8 now becomes our reference. So when 8 is the reference, we can cancel the row and the column where 8 is, and then we multiply by the cofactor. Remember, our cofactor here is going to be negative 1, and then our row, which is I, is 2, and then our column, which is J, is going to be plus 1, multiplied by the minor. So our minor is what we are left with here. We have 3, 7, 3, 3. There we go. Right, let me create more space so that we can do the remaining. Minor of 9. So we have to cancel the row and the column where 9 is. So let's do it. So I'm going to cancel this row here. The column is the same as you can see here. Plus 9, let's not forget this 9, multiplied by the cofactor. So let's multiply by the cofactor. Remember, the cofactor is negative 1 to the power of I. What is I in this case, which is row? It's going to be 3 plus J, which is our column, 1 for this one, multiplied by the minor. Remember, the minor is what is left after cancelling the row and the column. We're left with 3, 7, negative 4, 6. There we go. Then from there, we continue here. Right, so the next step here, we do the following. We have 0, right? Multiplied by a negative 1 to the power of 2. Let's just do it anyway. Multiplied by negative 1 to the power of 2. Multiplied by the determinant. So the determinant, we find it on the square matrix. So we're going to multiply this negative 4 with 3 minus 6 multiplied by 3. There we go. This is going to be the first one. Now the second one is going to be, let's not forget, 8. Now we're going to have negative 1 to the power of 3. Remember, 2 plus 1 multiplied by our determinant. Now our determinant on this square matrix here is going to be the first entry multiplied by the last entry, which is 3 minus 7 multiplied by 3. Right. Now we are done with this one. Let's do the last one, plus 9. Then we have multiplied by negative 1 to the power of 4 multiplied by the determinant. So we need to create more space again. So our determinant here is going to be 3 multiplied by 6. So this product here is going to be subtracted by the product of 7 and minus 4. There we go. So here, guys, it's how you actually do this one without the cofactor signs, but by using the cofactor formula. Right, so the first one here, guys, as you can see, everything is multiplied by 0. We can say this is 0. Right, now when we put this on our calculator for the second one, we're gonna have plus 96. Right, now let's do the last one there. When you put this on a calculator, we're gonna have the following, plus 414. So if you put this on a calculator, your determinant is gonna be 510. We are done. I hope this was not difficult for you guys to understand, because all we did here is to use two methods to calculate our determinant. The thing that you need to know here, in order for you to calculate the determinant on the third order, is that you have to select a row, and also you need to use the cofactor signs. So you need to understand how to calculate the minor and the cofactor. Just in case you don't know how to calculate the minor and the cofactor, I've made a video on how to calculate both those things. I already left that video on the description. Go to the description, click on that link, and it will take you straight to the video where I explain the cofactors and the minors. I hope this video helped you to understand better. Just in case this video helped you to understand, do not forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed. Thank you very much, guys, for watching. Till next time, cheers.